Hi, this is Russ Ballard, and you're listening to the Voices of Russ Ballard podcast.
Well, welcome again to the Voices of Russ Ballard with me, Uncle Ian.
And me, Sven. I just wanted to say, okay, this time, for the very first time, we do have Uncle Ian in this podcast. I have a strong feeling we can't afford this guy any longer now that he came to massive fame in London. Ian, could you tell us a little bit about what you have seen and experienced over the last couple of days?
Well, I think we ought to just talk about the gig, which was the Shepherd's Bush, which was Russ, as we know, was supporting the wonderful Rick Wakeman, and I was fortunate enough to be there, and Russ asked me to introduce him on stage, which was great. But I think I'd like to just sort of give you a little sort of glimpse of what it was like, because it was going down in the lift with these musicians, and all of them, the whole band, are great guys, are very, very cool. And I mean, Russ himself obviously is the coolest guy around anyway. He just sort of, he's just going about his work. He was brilliant. But all of them were just wonderful. And I was fortunate to be with them. We went down in the lift. There's 2 minutes to go. You can see it on the video. It's worth a look. And there's some chit chat going around. But all the new guys, you know, PJ, Josh Henry, and Mark Rapson, brilliant. Obviously, Rowley's been there before. He's not the new guy anymore. But a special mention to Mark Rapson, because he's a really funny guy, and he had me in tears of laughter almost on that in that lift going down. I can't say what he said, otherwise we might go off air. But it was quite funny. It was very funny, but really good camaraderie, and I was able to witness that, you know, and all the sort of tension that these proper professional musicians have. It was brilliant, very good.
Lovely. So lucky you had a brilliant time with the guys. We've seen something on your videos, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you said to Mark Rapson, "Are you doing stand-up comedy?"
I did, because it said, and he said not yet, which was a typical off-the-cuff reaction.
So funny Mark.
Funny Mark.
Ian, I think today will be good fun for us. We have brilliant guests. Maybe some of our listeners are not really familiar with the band. We want to introduce you to two brilliant guests. That will be really good fun. Ian, anything you want to add to here? Do you want to give our listeners a taster of the music of our guests?
I think so. I think we'd like to do that. And you and I are really into them. But let's not forget they were 2 days away from supporting Russ on a German tour that you and I were going to be at as well. And that's, you know, they're still disappointed about that all these months later. But they are very, very talented, the whole band. We were fortunate to speak to David and the Duchess from Space Elevator, and we're going to be talking to them in some depth. Sven loves them, I love them. But as a taster for the podcast, let's play you a song right up front. This is from the new album, Persona Non Grata. This is the wonderful Stevie Nicks' Smile.
Time I look at you, see you fighting what you're going through, and that fire within your eyes, a testament to all that you defy. You are so beautiful in everything you do. Got it all depends on you.
you think of that, Sven? That's Stevie Nicks' Smile from Space Elevator.
It's really a wonderful track. It has something. It's a catchy track. But now, let's don't waste any longer the time of our listeners and jump straight into our lovely podcast with David and the Duchess from Space Elevator.
Let's go.
Hello, I'm Chris White, and you're listening to the Voices of Russ Ballard podcast.
Well, everybody, it's no ordinary day, and we can't keep waiting anymore. We can fly now and love you better than ever before here in the Voices of Russ Ballard. We will hold on to you, and we are certainly not the losers, as we talk to David and the Duchess from Space Elevator. Welcome.
Hello, thank you very much. That was
amazing.
That was amazing in itself. Thank God we've got more than one EP.
Well, lovely to have you two on board.
Lovely to be here.
Podcast.
And it's a real first for us because we normally have got one person that Sven and I can talk nicely to, and now we've got two people. So we've got four people, and so it's a real first for us here on the Voices of Russ Ballard, isn't it, Sven?
It's amazing. I couldn't really sleep last night, to be honest. Okay, I think that was a lie. I was pretty much looking forward to this podcast.
That's what happens.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's if you eat so late in the day. That's what will happen to you.
I guess we could say we ought to fasten our seat belts while we go up in the elevator.
Thank you, London. Should be a crazy trip.
Yes.
Oh, this is so good.
And break new ground.
Let's push the button. Let's see where the elevator brings us to. And why not just jump into the questions? We have prepared some hopefully good questions.
Okay.
Ian, it's your time to say yes, of course.
Yes, of course, Sven.
Lovely. Yeah, good
Mine
question. So, first of all, we are always very interested in hearing, do you come from a musical family? And of course, we start with the Duchess.
Ladies first.
She's back in town.
Well, our bass player in the band, our bassist, is my brother. So you could say, yes, he's. I sort of grew up listening to him, learning to play his instrument, and my dad is a bit of a guitarist, but just amateur, not really taking it any further. My granddad had a really good voice, but nothing was done sort of professionally until sort of me and my brother started to explore that more.
What about you, David?
Yeah, I sort of did in the sense that my dad was a jazz musician, and he was a pretty good classical piano player as well. And at some point, we actually ended up playing together a bit. He was in a big band, like a 20-piece swing band kind of thing, and I played guitar on that a little bit. And but it was really only him. My mum played the piano a little bit. But I think I'm right in saying I've got a great-grandmother on my mum's side who was a concert pianist.
Oh.
It just popped into my head now, but it's true. And I didn't just make it up now. But other than that, my sister dabbled on a couple of instruments, scraped away on the old violin when she was 12, if she's listening. And other than that, that was it, really. So, yeah, my dad was a musician, although that wasn't necessarily that relevant to me growing up because he was a jazz musician and I was into maybe rock, and ultimately we ended up playing together when I was an adult, but it wasn't, he didn't play the guitar or anything, so but there was kind of music around.
I don't know what it is with musicians, but whoever, you talk to Russ, you talk to the musicians that we've spoken to on here, from the Chris White to Steve Rodford to and all of you are just good at everything. Underwater tiddlywinks, you'd be good at it.
So fucking special.
But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. So
move on to the second one.
Let's talk about your musical career, because before we go on to this great band that you've got, we'd love to hear what you've done previously to this in terms of career and or maybe alongside the band. I don't know.
Well, I was always in local rock bands and writing stuff. Again, with my brother was on bass, and always had dreams of being a rock star one day. I took a bit of a sideways walk into musical theatre for a while, and then they always come back to rock, don't they? But I'd known David. How long have we known each other?
I'll tell you how long we've known each other. We've known each other since New Year's Eve 1994.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was an amoeba. I was obviously just not even fully formed.
You were 5 and I was 9. But the reason just to jump in on that, the reason we know each other was I was doing this kind of duo thing myself and a female singer, Danish female singer, funny enough, Sven, coming back to the fact that you like going on to Denmark, just trying to tie that in for you there. And she cleared off for some reason to do something or other. And I had this gig on New Year's Eve, like a party gig kind of thing, right? And it was just like backing tracks, me on the guitar and this girl had been singing. And that's how we met, wasn't it? Because a mutual friend got in touch with me and you did the gig. So that's how we met originally. But we've kind of, I was going to say fallen in and out. We haven't fallen in and out with each other over the years, but we've fallen in and out of work with each other over the years.
And then sort of, I mean, we started doing stuff together. And then in between that, I was going off and doing some musical theatre. Then I did BVs for a few people. I actually did BVs with Steve Van Sant, which was really nice, and Richie Sambora. And that sort of, led to, I still do some BVs for a few people here and there now. So, but David suggested writing some stuff together, and we originally wrote the music to a shock rock musical about a serial killer in a high school in America. And that went to the Edinburgh Festival. As you do. And then one day he said to me, why don't we write an album of stuff that we really want to listen to? And it sort of went from there. But David, you talk about what you did before then. Yeah.
Oh, it's the same old story. You're in rock bands that never get anywhere. And there's a lot of that. And but I mean, I had a sort of conventional day job until I was about 30. And just to tie that in a little bit, Brian, our drummer, he's quite interesting in the sense that he worked, when we left school, he's a couple of years younger than me, but when we left school, he worked for the bank. He went into the bank. His dad was a bank manager. And he started working for the bank. Now, at some point or other, when he would have been about, 24 or something, there was a point where he was all set to become the youngest. I think I'm right in saying this. I think this is right. He was set to become the youngest Barclays Bank manager. When a bank manager was a big deal, right? He was set to become the youngest Barclays Bank manager at a certain point. And he quit to go and do a 3-month summer season playing the drums with a comedian, which seemed like the most completely random thing to do.
Good for him, yeah.
And he quit the job and he went off and became a kind of pro session-y kind of drummer. And that was interesting for me because it meant that he's sort of my best mate, and we've been mates since we were teenagers and played in bands together since we were teenagers. But that was relevant to me because I got to up to that point, I thought a professional musician was either a rock star or they were in the Royal Philharmonic. It was hard to envisage, even though you knew they were like session musicians, but it was like, well, what is that? How do people actually make a living as a musician when they're not in Queen or something? How does that work? So that was quite interesting. So I could watch that. And a couple of years later, I basically did just the same sort of thing, kicked in my day job and just went, I'll just make a living somehow playing the guitar. But musically, up to that point, it was basically rock bands writing their own tunes, not really getting anywhere, and then became a bit more serious about the guitar actually in my 20s. So I got into playing jazz guitar for a bit, and I got into playing a lot of classical guitar. And I became friendly with a guy called Carlos Bonnell, who's a concert guitarist, and I produced some of his albums, and that became a big deal. Then I ended up doing the Queen show thing, which was sort of a roundabout thing, which was to do with the musical we were talking about earlier, which was a rock musical. We were commissioned, by the way, to write the music for that. We didn't think, let's write a rock musical. We were commissioned by a fairly successful British screenwriter, TV and theatre screenwriter. And just through somebody who knew somebody, he was trying to get music written for the shock rock Alice Cooper style musical, right? And it sort of landed in our laps. And we just started writing together. Let's just write songs and see if we can sell one to, Will Young or something. I don't know, whatever. And we started doing this. And this thing sort of landed in our lap. And we said, oh, yeah, we'll have a go at this. So we did it and we went for it. And it did actually end up doing it. It did a premiere thing in the West End, actually. And then it did the Edinburgh Festival thing. But this is all stretched out over years. Nothing would happen for 4 years. Then it'd do a show in the West End and nothing would happen for 3 years. Then it would do a 3-week run at the Edinburgh Festival. Blah, blah, blah. On and on and on. So that's kind of how a writing thing came together. I got into the classical guitar thing, did the albums with Carlos, which were of varying levels of success, some were, some weren't. And the guy who was the musical director on the rock musical, said to me, I should just interject that Carlos Bonnell, the guitar player, we also went to Venezuela and recorded an album of Queen music with a symphony orchestra and Carlos playing guitar, which I produced. We got Brian May to endorse that. That was before I did We Will Rock You. But the guy who was the musical director for the orchestra, he was a British guy who went over there, who was the MD on the show that we did, our rock musical thing. He said to me, oh, you like Queen and you've written a rock, you should play in We Will Rock You. And I'm like, how'd you do that then? And at this point, I'd only been doing classical guitar gigs for the previous 5 years. I hadn't done any electric guitar stuff at all. And somebody led to somebody meeting somebody and da-da-da-da-da. Ended up doing that show, but I was a cover guitar player for. If you don't know how this, I don't know if you know how this works, but these shows all have permanent, fully employed, sick pay type musicians. It's like a 9-to-5 job, if you like.
Sure.
So they've got that gig, and I was a cover guy for one of the guys. So if he wanted the day off, I went and did it. So I ended up doing about 500 shows.
So I read that you've done 500 shows, which is still quite a bit of work.
It's quite a lot, but if you're Neil Murray, you've done thousands. You know what I mean? So it's 500 over kind of 7 years. So you're doing, what is that, 75 a year or something? 1 or 2 a week kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And the relevance of that being that when we started the Space Elevator thing, which was the two of us writing songs and going, let's record a rock album as the two of us, whatever we're going to call that. And then we got Neil Murray in because I knew Neil because he was the resident bass player at We Will Rock You. Yeah. And Elliot Ware was the musical director when I started at We Will Rock You. He wasn't by the time we did the Space Elevator thing. He'd moved on to Rock of Ages, and then he did he was in charge
Kinks
of the Kinks one. That was it. Thanks. Yeah, he did the Kinks one. But he was a big fan of, like, he was a bit unusual in the respect that most, not all clearly, but most keyboard players you meet, probably a bit careful about this. You tend to meet keyboard players who are either jazz or classical or musical theatre. Whereas he'd go, yeah, I know Fourth or Fifth by Genesis, it's this. Yes, I know Subdivisions by Rush, it's this. Right? So we were like, wow, I've never met a keyboard player like you before. This is amazing. Do you want to be in our band? So that's where that came from. So sorry, I've got a bit off topic there, but that just about brings you to the
Then you started off the Space Elevator thing. This is really interesting. So the two of you started writing songs together. You put together a band. Neil Murray on bass, which was kind of a surprise to me as Queen fan, diehard Queen fan.
And someone who played so many shows for the We Will Rock You show. He probably said after about the 2000th, he said something like, "Oh, here I go again."
I think, do you know what my theory is about Neil Murray? David Coverdale. I watched a documentary, the one you told me to watch that was on Channel 5 the other night, about Whitesnake. And it was all like David Coverdale decided to get these pretty boys in the 90s to revamp the band. He kicked Neil Murray out because he was too sexy.
There you go.
That's my theory.
Brilliant.
I thought he looked really good.
He looked amazing.
He did.
And Bernie Marsden as well. I think he fell out with Mr. Coverdale at the time for similar reasons, perhaps.
I think people fall out with Mr. Coverdale, don't they? Is that right? I don't know.
He's a lovely man, by the way, Mr. Marsden. I saw him on a blues cruise trip, would you believe?
Oh,
when
wow.
he was very with Joe Bonamassa. It was a Joe Bonamassa headline gig,
right.
but yeah,
that was good.
But yeah, it was very good, and Peter Frampton as well.
Wow.
So Joe Bonamassa, Peter Frampton, and you get different people. Anyway, but Bernie Marsden was a real gentleman and a lovely guy, and remembered Russ as well, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
cool. Very good. Very good.
Lovely. But now,
Sorry, Sven.
let's move on. We need to ask a question. Well, I think 1,000 people already asked the same stupid questions, but I want to hear the true story.
Let's go there.
What's the story behind your band name?
Do you want to go for this, or should you go?
Well, I guess it's not easy to come up with a band name, is it? We did have lots of meetings about this, and I think I was sort of having the idea of coming up with something bombastic, over the top, a bit like Led Zeppelin, something massive, something bigger than, we're not going to just take over the world. We want to get beyond the world's atmosphere and go up in a space elevator and reach outer space. And it just sounded massive, and it is a bit like, space elevator, what is that? And I think the first album we took a few, we ran with it a bit, and we had a couple of songs that did follow that theme, like We Can Fly and Elevator and Gallifrey Dreams, but yeah, it just wanted to be larger than life, I guess.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
and we should at this point as well say, I think it would be a good time. We didn't say at the top of the show that talking to you, one of the reasons that we're going to be talking in a big, amount of detail in a moment or two is the new album, and I'm going to mention it already straight away now. Persona Non Grata, the new album from Space Elevator. So I'm just throwing that in because we'll be coming back, and the more I mention it in the podcast, the more people will remember the name Persona Non Grata.
Persona Non Grata, yeah.
Persona Non Grata, which is available, and a great package, by the way, because I speak through experience that the package, the CD, the vinyl package and all that is really worth it. But I'm sure you two will tell us more about that a little later. But anyway, I'm interjecting there. So, but before we get to that, he says, having delivered an advert,
I like it.
Tell us about your. Now, there's one big musical influence that David has already mentioned about, which just about comes over, I think, in the songs. Ooh, you make me live. Are there any other big musical influences? Because I've read some. I did a lot of Google work, instead of people calling you Heart meets Queen meets God knows what. And I don't know how you feel about that, and whether that's something that you've deliberately done, or whether that's something you like. So over to you two. What do you think?
Shall I go first, David?
Yeah, you go first. Yeah.
I think for me, my big influences, like growing up, it was the Beatles and the Stones, and then it was literally Alice Cooper. I went crazy for Alice Cooper. There was a friend in my class at school that copied all the early albums for me, and I just loved his difference in styles, where he did stuff that was a bit old music hall, and sometimes some big sort of jazzy dance numbers interjected with the heavy rock, and it was scary and it was theatrical, so I really enjoyed that. And then also Queen, getting into Queen, really admired Freddie, just sitting at the piano and coming up with those songs, just incredible. Again, the theatrical element, but also Kate Bush, really enjoyed Kate Bush, and a lot of heavy rock, Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, Genesis, Thin Lizzy. I think that's my main ones. David?
David, before we go to you, I just want to pick up on something the Duchess said there about the Alice Cooper influence. And it's another shameless plug for your new video, which I think is out today, because it dropped into my inbox earlier on today as being out on the 18th. And the reason I say that is because your eye makeup is perhaps influenced in that video by Alice.
Certainly is. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So everybody has to go on YouTube now and see the video for Persona Non Grata Part 2. Is that, have I got that right?
Part 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't you know
quite funny. I mean, on the one hand, yeah, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? People say, what's influences? And I always think, well, I don't know really. I mean, I know what bands I like, but I don't know if that necessarily makes them an influence, if that makes sense. Now, the Queen thing, yeah, we are influenced by Queen because we're big fans of Queen. But other than Queen for a day, we don't sit down and go, let's write a Queen song. Just sit down and write songs. Now, obviously, the stuff that you're into sort of comes through. By the same token, I absolutely adore, say, AC/DC, but nothing we play comes out sounding like AC/DC.
I think like some of the harmonies we put on the songs, though, and some of your guitar licks.
The guitar work, I think it's just
agreed.
Just the guitar work, which reminds people of Brian May when he's playing the old lady.
Yeah,
I think that's the influence, and of course, Queen for a Day.
But then to be
is
fair,
an amazing track with lots of Queen influences in it.
But one of the things I like about the guitar work, if I can say this as a kind of fan, as rather than somebody who's interviewing you, if you like, is the fact that David's guitar goes from being funky, right, sort of a funky sort of feel to it, to then ripping a crybaby, pedal guitar solo that is something out of Gary Moore or Brian Robertson. That to have the same thing in the same song is pretty unique. Pretty different to me.
I suppose it. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it is. Oh, thank you. I don't know. It's just a really interesting question, isn't it? Because obviously anybody is influenced by whatever we've heard, but influenced always sort of implies, when anybody says influenced by this out there, like a conscious or deliberate thing. So Queen for a Day, that song was deliberately written to sound like a Queen song. It was deliberately written to sound like a Freddie at the piano song in 6/8, In the Lap of the Gods, kind of that type of Queen song, as opposed to a Tie Your Mother Down kind of Queen song.
Right.
And we got Mike Moran to play the piano because obviously you got with Freddie and he and all the rest of it. But having said that, I've spoken to people who are, big Queen fans. So we're doing the song Queen for a Day and we've got Mike Moran, and he plays when you go, it doesn't really sound like Queen. Which is quite interesting. It sounds like a Queen song, but it doesn't really sound like Queen, if you get my drift. Even though the guitar parts are deliberately written to go like, can you guess Brian May's on this, even though he's not? That's obviously very. And I do know how to do a Brian May impression to some degree because of We Will Rock You. You
stick some clogs on and you hug a badger.
That's what I do. That's what I do. I always put the clogs on before I play anything. It's meant to sound a bit like Brian May. And try and be a bit taller. But it's, I don't know, the influence thing, for me, I just like the same old cliche things that any geezers my age like, really. I like Queen, I like Kiss, I like Rush, I like Genesis, I like Led Zeppelin, I like Steely Dan, I like, who do I like? It Bites. It Bites are quite a big influence on us, actually.
Yeah.
And they're not such a well-known band. Less successful than the others and not been around for many years. But we're also interested in sort of jazzy music, and we're interested in classical, and we're interested in these other things, and we're interested in funk music. And as maybe this is more pertinent, as working musicians, and I say this about all four of us, and Michael Bramwell, who played piano on the album, the last two albums as well, actually. In our non-space elevator day jobs as musicians, we have played varying styles of music. So if we want to stick in a kind of trad jazzy thing in the middle, we do know how to do it because we have actually played that music. You see what I mean? But and I think that was maybe where the Queen influence comes in, insofar as you could go, well, Queen would do this, they wouldn't be scared to do this, so we are not scared to do it.
At the end of the day, all these different styles come together, in my opinion, on your new album, Persona Non Grata. Just a little reminder for our listeners. So go to www.spaceelevatoband.com. An audio package. So I will ask you one more question. And Ian, can I ask you for a favor? Can you just remove this Les Paul in the background and Brian May Rat Special replica?
Sorry.
For all of our listeners, I can see Les Paul in the background where Ian is sitting, and I know he owns a Rat Special replica signed by Brian May, Paul Rodgers, and RMT.
Wow.
Whoa.
But
go away. Let's go off to the next question.
My Red Special is actually black. So that probably doesn't really count. But there you go.
I saw that. I saw that on you. You were auctioning it or something. Is that?
Well, I sort of was, and in the end, I didn't. I kept it.
Oh, okay. Well, I've collected a few guitars, and then just that one in the background, by the way, was owned by a certain Gary Moore. It's a '58 Les Paul Standard.
Whoa.
Why don't you just sell it and retire?
He used it. I have retired. He used.
That was my next question.
he used it as on the front cover of Good Bad for Your Baby. There, the album used it in some publicity shoots.
Oh wow!
And he's still got the receipt of where he bought it in Brighton. Anyway, not very visual for our listeners, so I think I ought to get off that. Sorry, Sven, you were going to talk about
this. I can see it. Right.
Wow.
So, okay, Ian, go and grab your red special and bring the holy guitar if possible. So off to the next question. By the way, I hear some influences from by a certain guy called Mr. Russ Ballard. I don't know if you ever heard of this man.
Oh yeah, amazing.
Some of your songs from Persona Non Grata. But before Persona Non Grata, you released already 2 brilliant, really fantastic albums.
Yep.
Thank you.
Your debut album was released in 2014, simply titled Space Elevator. Tell us a little bit about your first full record.
Well, do you know what? That album, we didn't have a band when we wrote the songs, did we, David?
No, we didn't.
It was kind of, the songs all were written first, and literally we got into the rehearsal studio and with Elliot and Neil, and we had to sort of build them up from the sort of the demos that we had. They took on a new life, didn't they? With those two.
They did, yeah.
Massively. And I guess the first track, I was imagining a bit of Led Zeppelin style.
Well, I've got to mention one track on there, and we always get an excuse to tee up some tracks. Loneliness of Love. Oh, what a track that is. That is just an absolute killer track. What do you think?
Thank you.
It's honestly, I've not stopped playing it for a long time. That to me, I think is the best track on the album. But Sven and I like to disagree on these things. Go on, Sven.
We Are the Losers. We Are the Losers is by far the best track on the whole album.
Thank you, Sven.
You're both wrong.
Okay.
It's really it's such a, the thing with your music, with your style, whatever it is, on each and every album you are able to deliver an epic track, at least one really big track.
Yeah.
But on the new album, more than one. On the new album, Persona Non Grata, which is available in all good record stores.
And at spaceelevatorback.com /store.
There you go.
But nevertheless, let's play only for Ian. So hugs and kisses, my friend. Loneliness of Love.
With all the hope, promise you made on my perfect list. In the sun, it's starting to fade. The number on your wrist. tips. I hear your lies and your goodbyes. There's no one else but you, but when we're together we're turning to. For you I'll cry. Oh, for you I'll So we remain in the loneliness of love. It's always the same. It's the loneliness of love. That feeling again. It's the loneliness of love. The pleasure of pain. It's the loneliness of love. Oh no, 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 no. So that's what we choose. It's the loneliness of love. We win or we lose. It's the loneliness of love. Oh no, no, no. Stuck in the game. It's the loneliness of love. We go round again. It's the loneliness of love. It's the loneliness of It's the loneliness of
And that was The Loneliness of Love, which also there is a great video on YouTube of that, of the band playing it live.
Yeah.
Is that the
Yeah.
Cambridge Rock Festival? Have I got that?
No, that the Loneliness of Love one was just a gig we did in High Wycombe in Buckinghamshire.
Wrong one.
That was just our own gig. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
That's
That
the
is
one with the red
definitely.
catsuit.
I think that is probably by far the fans love that track the most out of that first album. Would you say
Yeah.
that, David?
Yes, I would say that. I mean, I don't mean I would say that.
Yeah.
Would I? I mean, yeah, I agree with you. It's
But I didn't like it to start with, that one.
no. I mean, it's really funny, and Brian really liked it as well, actually. But what's really interesting is we have. I mean, I don't know what you think about this. I think we're agreed on this that we have, and we found this. It'd be interesting what you two guys think about this. We you write a bunch of songs, right, for an album, and certainly not so much with Space Elevator 2, I didn't think, but more with the first album and with this one, Persona Non Grata, in case anyone hasn't got that. The first one, Persona Non Grata. To my mind, personally, I'd stand behind every song we've ever recorded. We have never recorded a song that I think, oh, that's a filler. Now, somebody else might think that, but we have believed in every song we've recorded, if you see what I mean.
Sure.
But within that, there are songs where we all kind of go, yeah, anyone could have written that. And there's other songs where we go, not like, oh, only we could have written this, but there are songs which we think are kind of specific to us, if you get my drift. And we've got a bit of a, but what's been interesting with Loneliness of Love is a kind of song where we think, I think, yeah, a lot of bands could have sort of done that, where a lot of bands wouldn't have done, for example, We Are the Losers, for instance.
No.
And on the first album, I think there are songs like Ordinary Day. I love Ordinary Day, actually, but Ordinary Day, Loneliness of Love, More Than Enough, off the top of my head, which are sort of just kind of generic rock songs, if you like. Whereas I thought when we wrote, for my money, the best song on that album is I Will Find You. But I think songs like that are like, oh, we've done something that doesn't sound particularly like anybody else with I Will Find You. And a bit the same with We Are the Losers, and maybe even with We Can Fly. So I think that, and on the new album, what's interesting, where I'm sort of trying to get to with this, rather poorly, is on the new album, there's the same things at play. Now, there's one track on the new album which we think, yeah, that's just a generic rock song. Anyone can do that. And now a few people have heard the album for a few weeks, and just about, I mean, it would be exceptional for somebody not to put the song in their top 3 that we think is, yeah, anybody could do that. So, and I'm now coming around to, well, maybe we should bung this out as a single, because everybody is going, oh, that's the one I like. And we're going, what, that one? So there we are, which is like the loneliness of love of the new album, if you like.
Right. Well, we're gonna be getting to the new album, which is called Persona Non Grata.
It is called Persona Non Grata.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. But I just want just a quick one about Mike Moran. I actually he's a really, really lovely guy, and I actually knew him. I've lost touch with him, so
right.
Do say hello to him for me, and say that if he remembers me, I was the person that he wore a tie to go to lunch with. I'm not going to say anymore, but just remember that. Just say that to me. So yeah, because all the rest, it's confidential and all that kind of.
He wore a tie to go to lunch with you.
He felt he had to wear a tie to go to lunch with me.
Wow,
but I can't say why.
I always do when I go to lunch with Ian, but that's another story.
Well, do you wear anything else or just a tie?
It's like the Monty Python guy on the. Anyway, let's not go there. So we're going to move on to album 2, aren't we, Sven?
Yeah,
because So let's talk about the second album, and just a brief chat on that. But we couldn't talk to you by not mentioning it, and obviously, Queen for a Day, which is, fabulous, and you've already been talking about it, and we should play that now.
Oh yes, go for it, please.
A glass to the past and brushed all those hard times away. And I heard you say, it's all right, it's all right, my dear, it was bound to end this way. Then I saw you at the record store. Your smile took my heart by surprise, just the ghost of you and nothing more. But you still had that fire in your eyes, a lovely spark in the dark that burst in and swept us away.
what you're thinking about that. Queen for a Day.
So tell us a little bit about your thoughts about the second album, specifically, obviously, for the track itself.
Okay, so my own personal view at that point was we wanted to make an album that was more. The first album was we consciously made it 50-50 between the guitar and the piano, or the guitar and the keyboards, let's say. By the time we did the second album, we were now a gigging band, and we didn't have a live keyboard player. And we did have keyboard parts on track, and we played to clicks and stuff sometimes, but we didn't have a live keyboard player, and we developed more into more of a rock band in that respect because it was more guitar based because we didn't have a live keyboard player. And the idea was, I've just said what I've said about we're not being massively influenced by Queen. Now I'm going to give you a Queen example, which was we wanted to go from A Day in the Races to News of the World, if anybody knows what that means. Yeah. So the idea was to kind of streamline things a little bit, make them a bit more rocky. By the time we recorded Space Elevator 2, we were now a band, and we had gigged, and we did quite a lot. The four of us, Chaz as well, and Brian, and the two of us. So we wanted the songs to be more generally a bit shorter. It's quite a long album, actually. That's because there's quite a lot of songs on it. But the songs are actually a little bit short. Things like Take the Pain and World of Possibilities and Crazies and stuff. Always timed quite long. So it was a kind of more direct album. And for my money, it's more of a sort of cohesive album. It feels more like it's less flamboyant than the first one.
Is that another word for commercial? Can I be naughty and say?
No, I don't think so, really, because no, I just
nothing wrong with that, by the way.
No, I know. God, I wish we were more commercial. I don't know. Was it more commercial? It wasn't that. It was more along the lines of just trying to not have any flab in the songs, really. Whereas with the first time we were just like, we're going to write what the hell we write, and that's it. We don't give a toss, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Not that we were going to write Supper's Ready, but we're not going to. If this song's 5.5 minutes long, it's 5 minutes long. So what? Not that we weren't doing or consciously not doing that on the second album, but the whole thing just felt like it wanted to be a bit more direct and a bit more, not more guitar as in more widdly guitar playing or anything, but it was more based around the live band of guitar-based vocals, right? Live, yeah. So that was kind of it. And on that album, there were tunes like Take the Pain and Far Away Boy and maybe Lucky Girl even, that we played live before we'd recorded them, which was a complete reverse of the first album. So that was the thinking for that one. So I think the album has more of a cohesive feel about it. Maybe it feels more like a band album, if that makes sense. But maybe that's just in my head because I know how we did both of them. Maybe people listening to it don't think like that.
What about Duchess? What about you? I mean, there's just that. There's two videos, isn't there? There's the unplugged version of the song we've been talking about. A little bit. What's your thoughts on that?
On Queen for a Day?
On Queen for a Day and maybe the album itself, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with David. It did feel. It's interesting actually because a lot of the songs are heavier than the first album, but then there's All This Time and One That Got Away, so it's kind of. I'm thinking now maybe that album is a bit too long, too many tracks. Yeah, but I really like. I mean, I like Keep Waiting and Queen for a Day and World of Possibilities. I think that there's some of my favourite songs on there that I still.
I really love what you think about that.
Amazing. Yeah. Keep Waiting is really good, and we don't want to keep the people waiting now. Let's
what a link. What a link.
Persona Non Grata, your latest album, and it's out. People, buy the record. Support the artist. Go to spaceelevatoband.com. Go to your next best record dealer. Just buy the album, and do us a favor and just buy the album.
Always support the artist. We always say, Sven,
just to keep it.
Support the artist. And Sven and I have both got the vinyl, and it's brilliantly packaged. It's a great piece, and you can hold it in your hand, unlike listening to a screen.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's different. It's really a different album. Of course, look and feel is different to Space Elevator and Space Elevator 2. So it looks like, well, the band really came together now, and the tracks are fantastic. If you listen to it more than one time, you can't decide what is your favorite track. Ian, what's your favorite?
When I listened to it the first time, one track jumped out at me, and it was Passive Aggression. That jumped out at me. Since then, I've changed my mind. That's gone to 2. And I don't think David's going to like it, but maybe he will. Love You Better is the track. It's absolutely outstanding, that track. It's got every, and it's melodic. I think it's commercial. It's commercial. It's you know, you're humming it. Well, you're not humming it, but he's going around in your head. That track, to me, I can't stop playing.
Thank you.
Absolutely the killer track.
Let's take it nice and easy. Tell me about yourself, how you came to be the man you are. Free the wife, the kids, the house, the car. God drives the motors of this extraordinary thrill constructor. Does anybody take the time? 'Cause I wanna know. And does she ask you anymore? Just what that far off look is for. I love you better, baby. I know what's good for you. Let's find somewhere secluded to talk, and you can tell me all about the history of concrete in the 17s. Don't stop, it's fascinating. No, really, I've got all night. Man, my own age, I'm so immature. I'm an unwritten novel. There's so much that I need to learn, and I can't deny my head was turned by your old-fashioned style. And does she still appreciate that money when you're working late? I love you better, baby. I know what works for you. Let's both get out of this place
very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's okay, Ian. I
What
must
about you,
disagree.
Sven?
I must disagree with you.
Go on,
Yeah.
then. Disagree. Go on, I want to hear.
I
I want to hear.
must do. I can't say, oh yeah, I
hear.
love passive aggression. Well, it's a really good song, but what about the Duchess of this town? What about Stevie Nicks' Smile?
Oh,
The
yeah.
children cry.
Great songs, love them.
Oh, thank
Agree
you.
with me, lovely.
Hi.
Richie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richie's up tempo. Richie's funky somehow.
Yeah.
There's a
I think
lot
the biggest compliment I think I could pay this new album is when I do like my playlist, and I was putting together a Space Elevator playlist, and it was getting to the point where the new album, every track was going to be on the playlist of the best of Space
Wow.
Elevator. So
Oh, wow.
honestly, and
Blimey.
really good album.
yeah. And
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know whether you can hear this. I'm going to play you the beginning of a song, right, and see if you recognize this and hear a little influence potentially. That guitar at the beginning.
Is that Russ Ballard? Who's that?
No, that's actually Heatwave and the beginning of
Oh, my
or
goodness.
the groove line.
Is it really?
Wow.
And yeah, and I don't know, that Love You Better brings together. I was talking
Yeah.
earlier about absolutely killer guitar solos, but also that funky. It's got everything, and it's got the melodic chord changes. It's brilliant.
Thank you. I'm really pleased that you like it, actually, because that song is a little bit of an outlier within the album in some ways. A bit like What Do You Think About That was on the last one. But we do like a bit of funky dunky. Let's be right. So and we try to sort of rock it a bit. And there's a couple of heavy chords in there and stuff, but it's obviously a kind of funky. Didn't you say you wrote the I really love the lyrics on that, by the way.
Yes.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. I love that. My favorite lyric on the entire album is on that song, which is, "And you can tell me all about the downward trajectory of the crane industry." I think working that into a song is incredible.
Yeah.
I think that's the true mark of genius.
So, what do you see as future singles then? Ignore me because it doesn't.
Well, actually, here's the thing. Passive Aggression is the song that everybody goes, "I love that Passive Aggression."
Yeah,
I love that song, Passive Aggression. In the way that Loneliness of Love was. Now, I mean, I love it too. Don't get me wrong. I love the song. I absolutely love it. But it's the kind of song that's. No, I love the song. I love the vocal.
It's interesting though, because the first time you played me the chords, I came up with a melody line in the lyrics straight away. So I think it definitely spoke to me more than all the others straight away.
Marian don't understand it. She talks about it with her friends. It isn't how she planned it. This indecision never ends, and she wonders why she's going round in circles again. They tell her to forget it. They never got him anyway. Say he's too wild and reckless, too cold to be held in a sway. It's not a matter now of if she should leave him, but when. But when the night comes down and she's all alone, she's pressing redial on that telephone, and she says her lines like she's in a play. But would she have it any other way? She says, "I need you here in my arms tonight. You're the only one who can make it right. This pain and this tension is too hard to mention. This long and expensive aggression is wearing us down." Connor is done with thinking, can't talk about it with his friends, so they just go on drinking. And he can maybe just pretend that his world doesn't spin on the look in her eye. It's so different now, all the games they play, but no one else can make him see the world that way. And it's all too much, and it's not enough.
Yeah. Do you know, this is interesting because I wonder if when you are, I'm not very experienced at making records. You know, I've made 3 records of my own music in my life, and it's these 3, right? But although I've recorded, demos and things and all the rest of it in the past, but I wonder if you have a kind of perception that the songs that were quite easy to write are not as good. Not as easy.
Maybe.
If they're easy to write, they're not as good. Not meaning by that, I wrote the song and it was really, really hard to write it. I don't mean that. But so for example, I'm really, really pleased from the point of view of the way we wrote the song of First Girl on the Moon. Because I'm really pleased with the chord changes. I'm really pleased with all those key changes at the end and all those chords. And believe you me, it was tortuous recording the demo because I recorded the demo on the piano and I can't play the piano. And I was going, and I had this really crappy way of recording, which I've now replaced. Well, Adam replaced for me when we recorded the album, which was I had this Tascam machine where the buttons would all stick. So I'd going, record button, won't record. And I'm literally recording, I'm going, right, I've got to play G flat 7. What? Well, that must be this note and this note and this note and this note. And I go, hit the record button, the thing wouldn't record, and eventually record it and go, click, 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 clang, miss, stop it again. And it was painful. And it just took forever to get that done. And then, of course, once the vocals were written in that beautiful melody, and then Mike Bramwell played the piano. And my big guitar statement on that song, by the way, was I wanted, Dutch will back me up on this, I wanted no guitar on that song. None. There was no guitar on this record. And in the end, Adam kind of talked me into it. And you did a bit as well, I think. Because there's a little bit of clean guitar on the last choruses just to give it a bit of colour. Because Adam was saying there's a lot of effects and stuff on it. And like we need something, just a different sound in the end, so we put the guitar on it. But I love the vocal on that. I love the lyrics on it. And I think that song, from our point of view of writing a song, is more unusual for us to write that than it would be to say, write Passive Aggression or Loneliness or Love. But that doesn't mean to say that anybody's going to connect with that song any more than they're going to connect with Passive Aggression, which is obviously more of a driver on, windows down, hit you immediately kind of a song. Yeah. So yeah, maybe.
I could see why Passive Aggression is going to be a choice of a single. I can see that.
Yeah.
First time listening to the album, it jumped out. And Sven and I were talking a couple of weeks ago. I said, I'll play that album, that track, Passive Aggression. And we were both saying the same thing. Do you remember, Sven?
Yeah.
Well, yes, of course. I must admit, we both said Passive Aggression is outstanding. But what was funny, first time listening to Cheerful Frank, it reminded me on the songwriting of a good friend of us, Russ Ballard. It sounds like a Russ Ballard song.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Cheerful Frank has
now you say it, Sven, you're right.
Russ Ballard style. Don't know why, but yeah.
Oh, wow.
Take that to the bank. Let's stick on some Cheerful Frank. We went to hear you sing your song. You didn't like it when I sang along. We took your tunes out on the street. Life was sweet. Take me back all
Well,
And you-
that's a compliment indeed.
It really is. It does have a bit of that 70s songwriter, singer-songwriter
Yeah.
vibe to it. It's like, is it Grocer Jack or is it Grocer Jack?
Is it?
What's that song,
I don't
Grocer
know.
Jack?
Did you know when
Grocer Jack? Grocer Jack. Just reminds me of that with all the kids coming in and stuff.
Yeah,
It has got a nostalgic kind of has got a nostalgic kind of summery feel to it, I think.
Mm.
It has something special. It's just a special song, but so is the whole album is really good. Ian, I think you have one more question.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, it was a case of saying about in terms of the album. I think it is one of those albums that is rare that you can actually go. Every track is great, and you don't skip. You know what it's like. You skip to your favorite one.
Yeah,
it is for me. It is your best album to date by far. And you know, this is your opportunity now. We joked about it, but please, where can people or how should people best get hold of it to make sure that we support the artist? David, that's probably one for you. Do you just want to give us, before we move on, because we've got some fun questions to close with, and also want to hear about maybe some tours and stuff, but tell us about how everybody can do that.
Just a quick bit of background about that. We record and pay for the albums ourselves, you know, so we are not funded by anybody else. The band is completely self-funded. And, you know, albums, we live in a day and age of streaming and all the rest of it, but making albums isn't necessarily that much cheaper. So it still costs a lot of money. So so anybody who can support the band is great. And how you do that is by buying the albums directly from us. That's to say from spaceelevatorband.com, and there's a store there where you can buy. It's actually the only place you can get the album signed, should you have the one signed, and the only place you can get a bundle, which is the vinyl album, the CD, both signed, and a couple of posters as well, also all signed by the four of us. Of course, if people want to buy the albums in HMV, or they want to buy them in Amazon or whatever, we still get some money from that. Of course we do. We get nothing from streaming in reality. No. But the best thing for us, which helps us, is to buy them from, if you buy them out of HMV, that's cool for us, because then HMV like us more and our distributor likes us more and all the rest of it. Yeah. But actually for us to get most of the money back, it's buy it please directly from us, which is great. And I shall package it up and take it lovingly to the post office, my good self.
I read something about your postman skills.
Stop, whoa, yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Wait, Mr. Postman.
You're improving your postman
I kept
skills.
saying to Ian earlier when he was saying, it's a great package, and I kept saying, but what did you think of the actual packaging, as in the wrapping of it?
Well, both, but I was thinking more about the presentation.
I mean, I gaffled the hell out of that, you must admit.
You did, yeah. Yes, you did. And if you move quickly, just going back to the last advert, well, it might not be the last advert, but if you move quickly on that website that David spoke about earlier, you can also get there's a very good offer on the first two albums as well, packaged together. Yes,
we do, but yes, so thank you for that. We bundle, there's a bundle of each of the three albums. The earlier two albums, Space Elevator 2, is the album, which is on double blue vinyl, by the way, 180 gram blue vinyl, but it's issued as a double album, SPV. Signed, the CD album signed. The vinyl actually comes with a CD insert in it, if you want to spare for the car kind of thing. And with that one, you also get half a dozen Duchess postcards, if you please. And you get a poster. And on the first album, you get the album on vinyl, the album on CD, and you get a couple of radio edit singles, which were never issued publicly, but they were like promo singles. One is like a 5-track taster album thing for the first album, and one is We Can Fly, which is in a picture disc-y kind of, not picture disco, picture sleeve thing. And you get a poster with that one as well. So that's what you get. It's all good stuff, folks.
It is. So 1,000 good reasons to buy the albums. Now, I think there's a really important rule in the music industry. Ian, correct me when I'm wrong, but I think the rule goes you have to own at least 3 Space Elevator albums.
Yeah.
To call yourself a music fan.
Exactly. And one should be sealed, right? You should also think about duplicating.
Yeah.
Of
You've
course.
got some real nerds, because this came out. There is a Facebook group called The Voices of Russ Ballard, believe it or not.
Hi, this is Steve Rodford from the Zombies, and you're listening to the Voices of Russ Ballard podcast.
Where this podcast sort of came from, and also Russ's Facebook page and newsletter. But just to say on that, we there's lots of people on there that like buying vinyl, people that own vinyl shops and all sorts. So we'll definitely put the link.
Thank you very much.
When the podcast comes out, which we obviously Sven and I have got to talk about.
Thank you.
How can we see you live? Because I that's one thing I really would love to do. And I know you've got some dates coming up. I had a sneak look. Do you want to give us a quick advert on how we can see you live?
Yeah, we've got 4 dates coming up in June at the moment. Just 4 dates at the moment. We've got one in Marlow, which is my hometown, in a theatre. There's a school here which actually has an incredible theatre, which, just as an aside, is where we shot the Persona Non Grata video. But that's a proper gig. There'll be a bar in there. It's a standing gig. It's not like a theatre gig, although it is a theatre. We'll move the seats out of the way, and it's going to be a rock gig on June the 11th. And then we've got on the Monday, we're playing in St Albans, which is Dutch's hometown. And then we're playing in, that's on Monday the 13th. Then we're playing in Stoke, if you please, on Thursday the 16th, will that be? And then we're playing at the Cambridge Rock Festival on the 17th, which is the Friday. That's all we've got at the moment. We'll also be playing almost certainly in London at the end of October, and I'm trying to sort out a gig somewhere in Oxfordshire, also in October at the moment, which will be nearby that, and then we'll also look for gigs further afield, but I'm trying to nail those two down, and then sort out other gigs a little bit further afield. But that's what we've got as we speak.
Okay, and if we get news of those, we'll put them, Sven, won't we, in the group? And also,
I should mention, if you don't mind me saying so,
please.
Duchess and I, we are doing an acoustic unplugged gig in HMV Record Store in High Wycombe at 1 p.m. That's on April the 9th. We'll be playing nearly all of Persona Non Grata, somehow on acoustic guitar.
It's going to be interesting.
It is.
Wow. That sounds.
You want to see that? I want to see that.
Save the date, dear listeners. Save the date. I hope, well, as Ian does, to see you guys live on stage one day.
Definitely.
Perhaps you want to come back to Germany to play in Cuxhaven.
We were supposed to. We were supposed to be coming to Germany in April. But that tour got cancelled again because, for listeners who don't know, we were supposed to tour with Russ.
Exactly.
In 2020, what year are we in? 2020, and COVID got us. Do you know what? COVID cancelled the gig. The gigs were cancelled due to COVID 2 days before the first gig.
We cannot believe it.
And the same things happened again because of the state of Germany.
Some of us didn't get our car hire money back on the back of that, did we, Sven?
Oh no!
We were there.
Such a nightmare, and I remember as it was yesterday, as I gave Russell a call, and he and the gang was in his studio, and he was so full of joy. Hey, Sven, we just finished off the last rehearsal. I said, lovely, stay where you are.
Yeah.
Then over to Germany, this country will be locked and blocked in 48 hours.
Yeah. It was the same thing, like buying flights for the band to get there, and it was like, this is like, can't really get this back. But same things happened. Going back to your original point about playing in Germany, we were supposed to be coming over in April, but that's been cancelled again because venue availability has been a problem because venues are either closed or they're now catching up on the gigs that have been cancelled for 2 years or whatever it may be. So that's now been shut back to 2023. So it's like,
Well, one day, otherwise Ian and I will come over to the UK to see you.
Please do.
That's it. Well, that's a promise.
Yay.
Ian, do you want to start the fun bit?
Yes, I think so. So this is just a bit of fun to end with. And as you haven't heard any of our podcasts before, you won't know what we're going to ask you. So that's even better because you can't rehearse your answers. So we're going to ask you both the same question. I think we'll start with the Duchess first of all, but we'll be coming to you, David. So you've got a sort of bit of time to rehearse. Okay. So this is called the dinner party question. We're going to start off with that, and basically you've got a chance to go to a dinner party. You can take 3 people with you, either alive or dead. And who are those 3 people that you would like to take to a dinner party?
I would take Freddie Mercury.
There's a surprise. Brilliant.
Yes. Arsene Wenger.
Oh.
And Marilyn Monroe.
Whoa.
Whoa. Weren't expecting that. Oh, actually, but maybe John Lennon.
Well, okay. We
No,
give
Marilyn
you 5.
Monroe. I'd
We
like to
give
have
you
another
5
woman.
to choose. So John Lennon on the table.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Wow. That's great. Could you imagine Freddie saying to, calling Marilyn darling, but then probably,
yes.
probably turning to Arsenal and probably saying the same thing as well. But bless him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So David, over to you.
Oh my God, that is. Oh God, who are I? Okay, I mean, I would have said Freddie as well, but I won't say the same thing. So I'll go. Blimey. Okay, I would go for Phil Lynott,
Ooh.
Jeremy Bowen. Do you know who that is? Not Jim Bowen. Jeremy Bowen. He's a BBC war correspondent. Fascinating guy. I read a book by him. Jeremy Bowen. He's on TV now.
Okay.
And Jeremy Bowen, yeah, definitely him. And I think he'd be fascinating. Phil Lynott. Diego Maradona.
Whoa.
Is it 5?
Is it 5? Was it 3?
It's 5 now, as you've been such wonderful guests. It's 5.
And well, that's 4. Who would the 5th one be? Bloody hell, I don't know. Who would the 5th one be?
Paul Stanley.
Hey,
Gene
buddy.
Simmons.
Paul Stanley. No, I don't know. Paul Stanley or Gene Simmons. I don't know. I'm not sure about them. I don't know. I'm
Just take one of their songwriters, Russ Ballard.
I was going to say Tim Pierce because he's currently my favourite guitar player. It's a session guitarist. I'll go for him. Tim Pierce. There you go.
Right.
Wow.
We're
Russ
going to move
Ballard
on.
is actually a very nice guy to have dinner with, so we could have him, couldn't
Well,
we?
we've had dinner with Russ Ballard.
Yeah.
I heard about it. I heard about it.
And he was spectacularly nice. So, you know,
He is.
He
nice.
enjoyed it. He enjoyed it.
He enjoyed
You
it.
guys.
So listen, over to Sven. Over to Sven because we've got some desert island questions to finish.
Yeah,
with.
the thing is, it's good cop, bad cop. You ask such a lovely question. I sent you off to a dinner and you can invite 5 guests. And what I do is I send you off to a desert island. So off to a desert island, and I allow you to take just one album and one single with you for the rest of your days.
And we'll start
Which
with
album and
David
which
this time.
single is it?
Start with David this time, to be fair to the Duchess, so she can think
God.
about it.
One album and one single.
And no record player.
Only one. We're not going to give you any latitude at all here.
Yeah.
Okay. The single, weirdly, all right. Okay. The single I'd take would be Bohemian Rhapsody.
I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening me. Galileo, 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 Figaro. Magnifico!
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I got it first.
No.
We might be on the desert island together, in which case you don't need to bring it. And the album then would be. That's so tricky. I think I'd probably go for Live and Dangerous by Thin Lizzy.
Good album.
I think it was either that or A Day at the Races by Queen, but as I've gone for Bohemian Rhapsody, I'll go for Live and Dangerous by Thin Lizzy.
Duchess, what do you think?
I think I probably end up taking Sergeant Pepper. And Bohemian Rhapsody, if I'm allowed to. Am I allowed to?
Of course you are. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, of course you are. Otherwise, I would suggest "Love of My Life," also lovely song.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a gorgeous song.
But nothing really matters, does it? Anyone can see.
Nothing really matters.
I know.
That's right. Yes.
Oh yeah.
What a song!
Amazing.
Not bad at all.
Voices, really good choices. I hope you enjoy it, and I promise that we will take you back from this desert island, so you will be able to do all your gigs in the near future and play your new album. And once again, commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, buy the new album Persona Non Grata by Space Elevator, and shop it online. It's covered, still covered somehow. Buy online on www.spaceelevatorband.com and get your bundles. And remember the first rule in this universe: buy at least 3 Space Elevator albums. They are worth it. Band is worth it.
And the band will love you better for doing that.
Oh,
Hey,
And it's been great talking to you. We've been talking to David and the Duchess from Space Elevator. So we wish you the best of luck from the future.
Thank you.
Because you really deserve it. Great musicianship, great songs, and we really do wish you every success.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And good luck with the album.
Thank you.
So we'll get a chance to talk to these two wonderful people offline in a minute. But for the meantime, we're going to say it's goodbye from me, Ian.
And me, Sven.
See you next time.
Bye.
Hi, this is Russ Ballard, and you're listening to the Voices of Russ Ballard podcast.